My wife started acting strange after finding an old well in our backyard, but when I saw her reflection, I knew something was terribly wrong. I never thought I'd be the guy who questions his own marriage. But here I am, pacing our dark living room at 3 a.m., clutching my phone, and wondering who the hell my wife keeps talking to. It all started about 2 months ago. At first, I didn't think much of it. Lily works in marketing, and late-night calls with clients aren't exactly unusual. But then it became a pattern. Every other night, she'd quietly slip out of bed, go to the living room, and talk in hushed tones. The weirdest part? I could never make out what she was saying, no matter how close I got to the door. Just muffled whispers. I tried asking her about it once. "You've been getting a lot of late calls lately," I said casually over breakfast. She barely looked up from her coffee. "Just work stuff. Marketing's all about timing, you know." I didn't push it, but the calls didn't stop. In fact, they started lasting longer, sometimes up to an hour. One night, I crept down the hallway to listen in, my heart pounding. I could hear Lily's voice, but the words were indistinct, almost like chanting. The next morning, I asked her again. "You're up late a lot. Are you okay?" She smiled faintly, but it didn't reach her eyes. "Just stressed. Go back to sleep next time, okay?" I wanted to believe her, but something in her tone made my stomach twist. Then, last week, I woke up to find her side of the bed empty. It was 2:17 a.m. I listened for the faint hum of her voice from the living room, but this time, there was nothing. Panicking, I checked the entire house. Nothing. Just as I was about to call the police, I saw her walking up the driveway, barefoot, wearing her nightgown, looking dazed. "Lily, where were you?" I rushed to her, but she just blinked at me like I was the one acting strange. I went for some fresh air. Couldn't sleep. At 2 in the morning? Barefoot. She didn't respond. Just pushed past me and went to the bathroom. When she finally came to bed, I lay there, wide awake, wondering what was happening to my wife. But nothing prepared me for what happened last night. It was just past 1 a.m. when I heard the front door creak open. I rushed to the window and saw Lily walking toward the woods at the edge of our property. Heart racing, I grabbed my jacket and followed her. She moved in a trance-like state, whispering as she walked. I stayed far enough behind to remain unseen, but close enough to hear those strange, rhythmic words. Finally, she stopped at the old well, the one that had been dried up for decades. She knelt down, tracing something in the dirt. I squinted, trying to make sense of it, but before I could get closer, she whispered, "I'm here. I'm ready." Chills ran down my spine. Who was she talking to? Suddenly, Lily stood up, as if on command, and looked right at me. "Why are you following me?" she asked, her voice devoid of emotion. I was caught. I stammered, trying to come up with something reasonable, but she just walked past me without another word. Back at the house, she went straight to bed. No questions. No explanations. This morning, I found muddy footprints leading from the front door to our bedroom. But the thing is, the prints were much larger than Lily's feet. And when I checked my phone, there was one missed call, from her number, at 1:15 a.m. I never thought I'd be the guy questioning his own marriage. But now I'm starting to wonder, is that really my wife? I barely slept after that night. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw Lily's blank, unfeeling stare in the moonlight. By morning, I convinced myself that maybe I was just overreacting. Maybe it was stress. Maybe I was just too tired to think straight. But as the sun streamed through the curtains, Lily acted like nothing had happened. She hummed softly while making breakfast, the smell of pancakes filling the air. I watched her, trying to pick apart every little detail, the way she moved, the way she smiled. It all seemed normal. Finally, I couldn't take it anymore. "Lily, do you remember last night?" I asked, trying to sound casual. She looked up, genuinely confused. "What do you mean?" "You went outside. To the well. You were talking to someone." Her face went pale. "That's not funny, Ben." "I'm not joking," I insisted. "I followed you. You walked all the way out there and said something about being ready." Lily dropped the spatula, her hands trembling. "I didn't leave the house last night," she whispered. "Yes, you did. You even asked me why I was following you." Her eyes filled with tears. "Ben, I didn't. I swear. I don't remember any of that." My mind was spinning. Either she was lying or she genuinely had no memory of what happened. Then why were there muddy footprints from the front door to the bedroom? I pressed. Her expression darkened. I don't know, but I would never lie to you. I didn't know what to say. Was she sleepwalking? Was she somehow not aware of what she was doing? Just then, Lily's phone buzzed on the counter. She glanced at it and froze. What is it? I asked, stepping closer. She hesitated before showing me the screen. It was a text from an unknown number. Did you complete the ritual? My stomach dropped. What the hell is that? I demanded. I don't know, she cried. I swear, I don't recognize the number. I grabbed the phone and called the number, but it just went to a generic voicemail. I tried texting back, but there was no response. That night, I barely slept again, half expecting Lily to leave the house. But she didn't. She stayed curled up beside me, breathing steadily. Then, around 3 a.m., I heard a faint whisper. Ben, help me. I bolted upright, but Lily was still lying beside me, fast asleep. I looked around the room, trying to pinpoint the source. That's when I noticed her phone was lit up on the nightstand. A new text from the same number. Stop interfering. My heart pounded. Who was texting her? And how did they know I was trying to figure this out? The next morning, I decided to dig deeper. I went to the local library and pulled old records about the property. Turns out, the well at the edge of our land wasn't just any well. It was a site linked to an old cult from the 1920s. They believed that performing a ritual at the well would let them commune with the dead. The leader, a woman named Clara Marsh, claimed that the well was a gateway. I skimmed through faded newspaper clippings, my fingers shaking. One headline stood out. Cult leader found dead at sacred well, ritual gone wrong. According to the article, Clara had been found there alone, surrounded by strange symbols, her eyes wide open but lifeless. Witnesses claimed they could hear chanting around the well for days afterward. When I got home, I found Lily sitting on the living room floor, surrounded by papers. Her face was streaked with tears. I found my old journal, she said, barely looking at me. What's in it? She opened to a page marked with a faded red stain. I wrote about the well, years ago, before we bought this house. I don't remember doing it. The entry read, "The well calls to me. In dreams. I have to go. I have to finish what was started." I couldn't breathe. Lily, why didn't you tell me about this? I didn't know. I swear. I don't remember writing it. Just then, her phone buzzed again. Another text from the unknown number. Tonight, at the well, you know what to do. We stared at each other, and for the first time, I saw real fear in her eyes. What if it's not me doing it? She whispered. What do you mean? What if something is using me? I didn't know how to respond. I just held her, trying to piece together the fragments of this nightmare. As darkness fell, I knew one thing for sure. Whatever was happening, it wasn't just a coincidence. And that night, I wasn't going to let her leave the house alone. That night, I barely let Lily out of my sight. I tried to keep things as normal as possible, cooked dinner, watched a movie, but the tension was suffocating. Lily sat curled on the couch, clutching her phone like it might give her answers. When it got late, I suggested we sleep in the living room. Maybe staying downstairs will help, I said, trying to sound reassuring. She just nodded, too tired to argue. Around 1 a.m., just as I was starting to drift off, Lily sat up abruptly. I hear it, she whispered. Hear what? The chanting. My pulse quickened. Lily, there's nothing. It's just us. No one's here. She shook her head, tears welling up. No, it's outside. By the well. Before I could stop her, she shot up and rushed to the window. I followed, dreading what I might see. The backyard was empty, bathed in silvery moonlight. The well was just a dark silhouette against the trees. Then Lily's phone vibrated on the coffee table. Another message from the same number. You're late. Don't disappoint us. I grabbed the phone and typed back. Who is this? Leave my wife alone. A reply came immediately. She belongs to us. You don't understand. She called us first. What the hell does that mean? I muttered, mostly to myself. Lily glanced over my shoulder, pale as a ghost. I never called anyone. I swear, Ben. You have to believe me. I wrapped my arms around her, trying to calm her down. I know, Lily. We'll figure this out. But just as I said that, we both heard it. A low, rhythmic hum, like a dozen voices chanting in unison. It wasn't coming from the phone, it was outside. I rushed to the window again. This time, faint candlelight flickered by the well, and shadows moved in the darkness. I squinted, trying to make out shapes, but it was like they were half there, half not, distorted and shifting. "I'm calling the police," I said, grabbing my phone. Before I could dial, Lily's phone vibrated once more. Another text. "If you call them, she'll never come back." A cold dread seeped into my bones. "Lily, what did you do?" She shook her head furiously. "I didn't do anything. I don't know why this is happening." But a nagging thought was gnawing at me. The journal entry. The dream about the well. What if she really did summon something, and now it wouldn't let her go? "We need answers," I said. "We're going to that well together." Lily looked terrified, but nodded. "If we're doing this, we need to know what we're dealing with." I grabbed a flashlight and a baseball bat, just in case. We stepped outside, the night air thick with tension. As we approached the well, the chanting grew louder, but no one was there. Just the same old stones, cracked and overgrown. Suddenly, Lily gasped. "Ben, look." On the ground, etched in the dirt around the well, were strange symbols, some of them matching the ones from Lily's journal. In the center was a small, scorched spot, as if a fire had been lit there recently. "I don't understand," she whispered. "How did this get here?" Before I could answer, something moved behind us. I whipped around, raising the bat, but there was no one there. Just shadows. Then I heard it. A whisper, right next to my ear. "She called us. She can't take it back." Lily screamed, and I pulled her close. "Who's there? Show yourself," I shouted, but the night swallowed my words. And then, just like that, the chanting stopped. Silence fell, heavy and unnatural. Lily was shaking in my arms, and I could barely breathe. I pulled out my phone to take a picture of the symbols, but the screen was glitching, static lines, distorted images. Frustrated, I looked around, but there was no sign of anyone. When we got back to the house, I checked Lily's phone again. The text thread was gone. No messages. No number. Nothing. It was like they'd been wiped clean. "Ben, what if they're not just trying to scare us?" Lily whispered. "What do you mean? What if they want me to finish what I started?" I didn't know how to answer. I didn't even know what finishing meant. One thing was clear, though. Whatever Lily had awakened, it wasn't going to let her go easily. And somehow, I needed to find out how to break whatever connection had formed between her and the well. But deep down, I was starting to wonder, what if it wasn't the well that called her at all? That night, neither of us slept. Lily sat by the window, eyes locked on the backyard, as if expecting the chanting to start again. I stayed on the couch, phone in hand, scrolling through forums about paranormal encounters and rituals. Most of it seemed like nonsense, but one post caught my attention. It was from a woman who claimed her sister had summoned a protective spirit that turned violent when she tried to end the ritual. The post warned about unfinished rituals, saying that breaking a connection could have dire consequences. I glanced at Lily, still staring out the window, and felt a cold dread settling in my stomach. What if the well was more than just a creepy old relic? I needed answers. The next morning, I convinced Lily to stay inside while I went to the local library. Maybe someone there knew about the well's history. After an hour of digging through old newspaper archives, I finally found something. A faded article from 1958. Tragedy strikes local family. 3 found dead near abandoned well. The article detailed how a father and his 2 children were discovered near the well, their bodies burned and marked with strange symbols. The mother, who survived, claimed that they had been chosen and that the well demanded a sacrifice. My hands were shaking. I scanned further and found a follow-up article a week later. Mother admitted to asylum after claiming voices called from the well. The well had a reputation, even back then. People whispered about it, but never stayed near it long enough to learn more. One line stuck out to me. She claimed the well could grant protection, but required a life in return. When I got home, Lily was waiting on the porch. She looked exhausted, her eyes red and swollen. "Did you find anything?" she asked. I hesitated, unsure of how to tell her. The well, it's been linked to strange deaths. People believed it could grant protection, but at a price. She swallowed hard. "I didn't wish for protection. I didn't wish for anything. But did you ever, even accidentally, talk to it? Mention something while you were near it?" Lily looked down, thinking. "After that fight we had." I was so angry. I remember sitting by the well, venting. I said something like, I just want to feel safe again. A chill ran down my spine. That might have been enough. She looked at me with wide, terrified eyes. You think I summoned it? I pulled her into a hug. We'll figure this out. There has to be a way to stop it. That night, I set up cameras around the backyard. I wasn't going to let this thing torment us anymore. Around midnight, the motion sensor went off. I bolted upright, staring at the screen. Nothing. Just darkness and the well, bathed in moonlight. Then the screen flickered, and for a brief moment, I saw them. 3 shadowy figures standing around the well, heads bowed. I rushed outside with the flashlight, but when I got there, it was just me and the night. I checked the camera footage again, but the recording was corrupted, nothing but static. The next morning, I convinced Lily to go visit her sister for a few days. She needed a break from this nightmare, and I needed time to think without worrying about her safety. Once she was gone, I went back to the library, determined to find a solution. Buried in an old occult book, I found a passage that stopped me cold. To sever a pact with the unseen, one must return the gift or offer something of equal value. I slammed the book shut, realizing what it meant. If the well granted protection in exchange for a life, how could we break the connection without sacrificing someone else? That night, I returned to the well alone. I wanted to confront it, to demand it release Lily. But as I approached, I felt a chill wrap around me, and the chanting began again. This time, I didn't run. I know you're here, I shouted. What do you want from her? The chanting stopped. The air grew thick and heavy. Then a voice, soft but unmistakable, whispered from the darkness. She promised to never leave. You can't change that. My skin prickled. Lily never promised anything. Silence. Then, the same voice. She asked for safety. She gave her word. If you take her away, someone else must stay. I felt a wave of nausea. Who are you? The shadows seemed to deepen, and for a split second, I thought I saw the faint outline of a woman's face, gaunt, haunted. I stayed, so my family could go free. I stumbled back, heart racing. You're the mother, from the newspaper. The one who survived. She didn't respond. The well remained silent, but I couldn't shake the feeling that something ancient and twisted was watching me. When I got home, I found a note on the kitchen counter. Lily's handwriting. I can't keep running from this. I'm going back to the well tonight. Alone. I'm sorry. My heart sank. I grabbed the keys and sped down the road, praying I wasn't too late. As I approached the well, I saw her standing at the edge, staring down into the darkness. Lily, I called out. She didn't turn. I ran up and grabbed her shoulders, pulling her back. Don't do this. She looked at me, her eyes hollow and distant. It's the only way. I asked for safety. I have to give it back. I pulled her close, desperate. There has to be another way. We'll find it together. She shook her head. It won't let me go. Just then, the chanting grew louder, and we both looked back at the well. Shadows swirled around it like a vortex, and the ground seemed to pulse. We need to break the pact, I said. But we're not sacrificing you. I won't let it take you. Lily squeezed my hand, but before we could move, the chanting stopped. A single, piercing scream echoed from the well, and then, silence. I looked at Lily. It's over. She nodded slowly, but I wasn't convinced. The air still felt heavy, as if something was left unresolved. As we walked back to the house, I couldn't shake the feeling that the well wasn't done with us. Or worse, that it was already too late. A week passed. We didn't talk much about that night, but it lingered between us like smoke. Lily seemed quieter, more withdrawn, and I couldn't blame her. The well's presence felt like a shadow following us everywhere, even in daylight. One night, while Lily was asleep, I decided to check the footage from the cameras I'd set up. I hadn't touched them since that last encounter, too afraid of what I might see. But I needed answers. As I scrolled through the recordings, I saw the usual, the backyard swaying gently in the night breeze, the well still and unmoving. Then, at precisely midnight, the camera glitched. Static filled the screen for a few seconds, and when the image returned, there was someone standing by the well. I leaned closer. It was Lily. But that didn't make sense. Lily was asleep upstairs. I could hear her breathing softly, and I hadn't heard her leave the room. I rewound and watched it again. Same thing. The figure was unmistakably her, same long hair, same familiar way of standing. The footage played on, and I saw the figure slowly turn toward the camera. I froze. Her face was distorted, a hollow-eyed version of Lily with a gaping, unnatural smile. My heart pounded as the figure raised a hand and pointed directly at the camera. Then the screen went black. I closed the laptop and tried to steady my breathing. What the hell was that? Was it some kind of trick? A glitch? Or was something impersonating Lily? The next morning, I couldn't help myself. I showed Lily the footage. She watched it, her face pale, hands trembling. "That's not me," she whispered. "I know," I said, "but it looks just like you." She looked at me with wide, fearful eyes. "I've been having these dreams," she said, voice quivering. "In them, I'm standing by the well. I'm not moving. I'm just waiting for something." I squeezed her hand. "We're going to figure this out. Whatever it takes." That day, I drove to the town's historical society. I needed to know more about the well, why it existed in the first place, and why it had this strange power. The librarian, a woman named Margie, was surprisingly helpful. "Ah, the old well by the Barrett property," she mused, pulling out a thick, dust-covered book. "That's been around for centuries. They say it was originally built as a wishing well, but people started reporting odd things. Visions. Disappearances. One man claimed his wife was replaced after she visited the well too often." I stiffened. "What do you mean, replaced?" Margie lowered her voice. "He said she looked the same, spoke the same, but it wasn't her. Like a copy that didn't quite fit." Chills crawled up my spine. "Did he ever get her back?" I asked. She shook her head. "They found him in the well a week later. Drowned." I hurried home, my mind racing. If the well was somehow trying to replace Lily, what did that mean? Was it already too late? When I got back, Lily was in the backyard, staring at the well again. My heart pounded. "Lily," I called out cautiously. She turned around, her face blank, eyes glassy. "What are you doing?" I asked. "I heard her," she whispered. "Who?" "The other me. She says I need to come down. That she's been waiting to take my place." A surge of panic shot through me. "No, we're not going near that thing." But Lily didn't move. "It's like she's in my head," she whispered. "Every night, I dream of her. She says she's the real me, that I'm the shadow." I pulled her back toward the house, locking the door behind us. "We'll figure it out. But you're not going out there alone anymore." That night, as I was brushing my teeth, I heard the front door creak open. I rushed out to the living room, heart thudding. Lily was gone. Panic surged through me. I grabbed a flashlight and ran outside. My stomach dropped when I saw her, standing at the well's edge, leaning over as if she was about to climb in. "Lily!" I shouted, sprinting over. I grabbed her arm and pulled her back, but she didn't resist. She looked at me with dazed, empty eyes. "I have to let her in," she mumbled, "or she'll take me anyway." "No," I said firmly, holding her shoulders. "You're not giving in to this. We'll break the connection." Lily blinked slowly, as if coming out of a trance. "How?" she whispered. "I don't know yet," I admitted, "but I'm not losing you." We sat on the porch, huddled together as dawn broke. I could still feel that ominous presence lurking just beyond the light, waiting for one of us to break. And somewhere deep inside, I knew the well wasn't just trying to replace Lily. It wanted to replace us both.